Okay, today's factoring lesson is going to be vital to your factoring future. You must be able to do this. So it's really important that you tune in. Don't fade out on me.
Sorry if I do it.
Now, let's talk about the factoring that you've done so far. What's the first thing you do when you're told to factor?
GCF.
See if there's a GCF you can pull out. So on number 1 here, is there a GCF I can pull out?
No.
No. What's the second thing you're supposed to look for? A difference of squares. Is this a difference of squares?
No.
How can you tell just by glancing?
There's 3.
Yeah, there's more than 2 terms. If it's got 3 terms, it can't be a difference of squares. Because remember, on a difference of squares, that middle thing cancels out. This takes us to the next step. When you were taught to factor, what were you taught to do next? Draw your little box. That's right. The problem is, when we did those, we had a 1 in front of this x squared. Didn't we? These no longer have 1s in front of them. That's going to make our little box that we drew, it's not going to work. It only works when there's a 1 in front. It is disappointing. So, as I told you, if you like puzzles, like Sudoku or you know the multiplication tables y'all learned back when you were little, where you numbered your 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, and then you numbered your 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, and you had to multiply 1 times 1 and put the answer there, and 2 times 1 put the answer there.
I don't remember.
3 times 1 and 4 times 1, and then they made you do it across this way. And you filled in a table. It was the multiplication table is what they called it. Well, basically, what we're going to be doing here is similar to that. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, there's no GCF. It's not a difference of squares. And I can't use my little box because I have a 6 here. So I'm going to draw a tic-tac-toe board.
We're going to play some tic-tac-toe.
We're going to play some tic-tac-toe.
Caitlin's beast at it.
Okay, well good. I hope she's beast at this.
I know the trick to it.
Whatever.
All right, so remember how when we did our little box, we took this number at the back and we wrote it at the top, right? And we took this number in the middle and we wrote it at the bottom. Well, basically we're doing the same thing here, except now we're having to use the 6 and the 1. So you're going to write your 6 here and your 1 here. Because when you do last times last, aren't you going to do, or when you do, well, I'll show you in a second. What do you get when you multiply 6 times 1? 6. Notice that multiplies this way to give you 6. You also have to find something that multiplies this way to give you 6, but it has to add to -5. Just like we did in our chart. It multiplies to give you 6. It adds to give you -5. Negative times a negative would be a positive, and a negative plus a negative would be a negative over here. So this, like you said, would be -3 and -2, wouldn't it? Okay.
I knew it.
She knew that. Now, if you look, isn't this times this also going to be 6? So right now, everything's working. We have to go over here and finish filling it out to where everything multiplies across and up and down and gives you these numbers. So the first thing I would suggest is starting by putting your negatives here.
It's like a Sudoku puzzle.
Yes.
I hate Sudoku.
That's what I just told you. It's like a Sudoku.
I don't even know what Sudoku is.
It's a puzzle.
Sounds Chinese.
Now, notice, here's something you need to know. Your negative, if you have a negative number here, you need to put the negatives inside here. Don't put them out front. It makes your factors all messed up. Now, which of those 4 numbers would be the smallest and easiest to factor? 6, 1, -3, or -2? 1. Basically, 1 is going to be 1 times 1, isn't it? And -1 times -1 is +1, so that works. then basically I'm just going to go across this way. What number am I going to have to multiply times -1 to get -3? Positive 3. And what number times -1 will give me a -2? Positive 2. Now check it going this way. 2 times 3 is 6. -1 times -1 is positive 1. 3 times -1, -3. And 2 times -1 is -2. These numbers right here are going to form your factors.
So we're going to use matrix.
No, you don't have to. Now, here's what you're going to do. Put your x. Aren't we dealing with x's here? So put your x here. Put your x here. You're going to write this as a factor and write this as a factor. So your one factor is 3x minus 1. And the other factor is 2x minus 1. I put an x there and an x there, and I multiplied across. Those are my factors.
Am I doing very good in this class?
Do we have to talk about that now?
Yeah, it just came to me. You can tell me after class.
Okay,
I'm
let's
sorry.
do. Basically, if I foil this back together, let's test it. If I foil or distribute this back together, I would do 3x times 2x is 6x squared, right? I would do, if you want to do last, that'd be positive 1. Your middle term is going to be your 3x times your -1. So wouldn't that be -3x? And this inside would be -2x. And that gives you -5x. Isn't that what we started with? So basically, these are the factors of 6x squared minus 5x plus 1.
So it's gonna be those four right there.
It's going to be this answer right here.
No, I mean like where it's at.
What?
Where it's at. You know how it's like 2 and 2. Okay, I don't think you know what I'm talking about.
What's
you know
2 and
how
2?
It's going across like 3.
Mm-hmm.
It goes down 2 and then goes down 2. It's like a 4 right there.
Right, these 4 right
Yeah,
here.
those
Yes.
ones are in the boxes.
Yes.
That's always gonna be 4.
Those 4 will be your factors.
Okay.
Yes, very good. Okay, so basically, let's go to number 2 and try to practice that again because I've already got some of you daydreaming.
Yeah.
Tune back in, please. First thing you check when you're
So bad.
factoring. What can I take out of all of these?
GCF.
Anything? 2, 9, and 18. No. Is this a difference of squares?
No.
No. Can I use a little long cylinder box? Why can I not use that anymore?
Because there is a 2.
Because it's got a 2 in front. So basically, I'm going to draw my tic-tac-toe. Thank you for your positive attitude.
Yeah.
All right, so if you'll remember, the first number goes here, that's the 2. The last number goes here. That's the -18. This number goes in the front, this goes in the middle. You're going to multiply those 2 together to get your corner. Just remember, everything that multiplies across and up is going to be your corner. Now, what's our middle term? 9. So we know that these 2 added together have to equal 9, but they also multiply together to give you 36 negative. What signs am I going to need? A positive and a negative. Yes. What are some factors of 36?
4 times 9, 12 times 3.
Wait, 12 times 3. Would 12 times 3 give me 9?
Yes.
Which one needs to be positive?
3. I mean 12.
The 12. Because don't we need a positive 9 here? So as you're naming off your factors, you're thinking of things that are going to add together to give you a 9.
Can you do those either way?
Yes, you can write your 12 here and your -3 here.
Okay.
Either way. Now, this is the part that causes trouble. So let's remember, the negative needs to go here. Because I have a negative number, I'm going to have a negative factor. Start with your smallest number first. That makes things easier. 2 is your smallest. What times what is 2?
2 times 1.
2 times 1. If I write 2 times 1, is that going to work going across? Can I do 2 times something and get a -3?
No.
So basically, that won't work. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to do it the other way. 1 times something give me a negative 3?
Yeah.
And will a 2 times something give me a 12? So it's okay that way. So finish it. 2 times 6 would be 12, and 1 times negative 3 would be negative 3. Then, before you say I'm done, check it. 6 times negative 3, does that give you negative 18?
Yeah.
2 times 1 is 2, and if I multiply across, I'm also going to get the right numbers. These 4, as one was trying to say a while ago that I couldn't follow, I was a little dense in the morning, sorry about that. These 4 are going to be your factors. Put your x here and your x here, and cross multiply those. So basically, I have x plus 6 and 2x minus 3. Those are your factors. Now, I have students who say, okay, am I supposed to use the tic-tac-toe or am I supposed to use the box? Basically, what I tell them from now on is just use the tic-tac-toe. It even works when there's a 1 in front. When this has a 1 in front. Because now that you know this is going to happen, you might as well just use the tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Because it works anyway. So that little box method was just kind of a way of getting you started so that you would understand the tic-tac-toe method when we got there. Okay, so let's move to number 3. Can I take out a GCF?
No.
Is it a difference of squares? No. So basically that means draw a tic-tac-toe. Your 3 goes in the front. Your negative 20 goes here.
20. Oh.
Your 3 goes here. Your negative 20 goes here. Multiply those together. Negative 60. Since it's a negative number, I know I've got to have a negative. And what do they have to add up to? 7. So what are some factors of 60?
20 times 3?
20 times 3. If I subtract those, am I going to get 70 or 7? No.
15 and 4.
15 and 4. If I subtract those, I get 11. So we're getting closer. What'd you say? 12 and 5.
There it is.
Which one needs to be positive?
12.
For this to come out as a positive 7, the 12 needs to be positive and the 5 needs to be negative. I have students who say, does it really matter? Yeah, it does matter. If you put the negative on the 12, you're going to end up with a negative 7 here. Right? Now, move your negative over to here, because you know you're going to have a negative. Your smallest number's 3. What times what is 3?
3 times 1.
3 times 1. Can I put a 3 here? Will 3 times something give me a negative 5?
No.
No. So the 3 is basically going to have to go here, isn't it? And the 1's going to go here. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. And if you check it, I think it works both directions. Now write your factors. 3x minus 5 would be this one and this one. And you don't have to write it in any certain order.
Oh.
You can write x plus 4 times 3x minus 5. It's exactly the same thing.
What if 1x take away
You
5?
like this better? Sir?
What if 1x take away 5? Can't do that, right?
No, you can't do that. It has to be a cross.
That's how I got that one.
You like this better than the long skinny one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go on.
It's more visual, I guess. I can
Maybe
see
so.
it.
You can see it.
Oh, you messed up now, right, Austin? Show me this tic-tac-toe.
Okay. Next one. Do I have a GCF I can pull out?
No.
Do I have one I need to pull out?
No.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about how the first number does not need to be negative? It makes it too hard to factor.
Oh, that's right.
If you don't pull the negative out, the tic-tac-toe is going to be a disaster. So let's pull this negative 1 out first. That would make this a positive 6x squared. That would make this a positive x and a negative 2. So yes, you can pull a GCF out of this one. It's not going to, now you're not going to use this negative 1 anymore. You're done with it. So basically, let's look at these inside numbers. Is this a difference of squares? No. So now we're going to draw our tic-tac-toe. And we're going to use the numbers that we have here. So the 6 goes here. And the -2 goes here. Multiply those together. And now we want to multiply something together that gives us a positive 1 in the middle.
I'm confused.
With what?
Three. Oh.
About what? Where?
Here?
Here? Remember, we never try to factor something when it has a negative in front. That's what we did on the last lesson. If it has a negative in front, you need to divide the negative out. If your x squared number is negative, you should pull a negative out. Now, what are some factors of 12? I need a positive and a negative that are going to add together to make me a positive 1.
12 and 1.
12 and 1 would be 11,
No, that's right.
right? What else? 4 and 3. If I use 4 and 3, am I going to get 1?
Yeah.
Yes, as long as one's positive and one's negative, that's going to work. I need my 1 to be positive, so, I mean my 4 to be positive because I need my 1 to be positive. So I'm going to move my negative to here because I know something times a negative is going to give me a -3. Since -2 is my smallest, what do I need to put here under this -2? Do I need a 2 here and a 1 at the bottom?
Yeah.
Can I multiply times a 2 to get a 3?
No.
So what's got to be in here? You've got to put your 1 there. Your 2's got to go here. Because something times 2, yes, you can get a 4 that way.
3.
Right, so let's go ahead and finish it. And check it. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times -1 is -2. 3 times -1 is -3. And 2 times 2 is 4. So now put your x in. Here's your x. These are going to be your factors. Just like so. And if you don't trust that, multiply it back together and then times a -1. It's going to give you what you started with.
I know, eh?
All right, try the next one. Do we have a GCF? On number 5.
No.
Say it again.
3.
3?
The S.
Yeah, I think 3 will come out. So let's take 3 out. That's going to make this a whole lot easier to factor. Oh my goodness, what?
This is a headache.
Yes, it is. So I pulled 3 out of every single term. Basically, I'm done with, oh, I forgot to write my -1 on my answer. Back up to that first page on -4. Make sure down there on your answer that you put a -1. Excuse me, I should have told you that. When you had your answers down here, whatever your factors were, you've got to have a -1 out here.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. That's got to be brought down because it is part of your answer. Ooh, wow. Yeah, we can't forget that. So when you get to here, just remember your 3 is going to be out right beside your answer when you get to the bottom. Your 3's got to be there. Okay, so put that into your tic-tac-toe and see if you can get it to factor. I'm going to let you do it without me talking.
Look at 3 and 3. The middle is what adds together. Gotta pull 3 out.
I messed up.
will, but then you gotta take 3 out when you get done. So you might as well work with some smaller numbers to start with. 3 and 3 and 9. 3 and 3 and 9. 3 and 3. Now it's 3 times 3, or 3 plus 3 gonna give you 10.
Oh man.
So try another one. There's not that many choices for
Is this
10.
multiply?
Remember, this is like a multiplication table. Everything has a multiplier to give you this.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case,
Oh,
it
right.
adds to give you 10. What are the only factors in 9? 3 and 3, and what else?
Ah, crap.
The easy one. 9
9.
and 1. Yeah, the one we always forget. The easiest one.
How you so much option?
The one that we forget, the easiest one. The 1 and the 9. These have to multiply together. So you have 9. So you only have 2 choices. You have 3 and 3, or you have 9 and 1.
This is the wrong spot.
Right. Because 9 and 1 are going to add up to 10. Now you've got to fill in all those other ones. Start with the 1. Isn't the 1 going to be the easiest one to factor?
Oh, I was doing 10.
Yeah, the 1's the easiest one. And then you can go from there. Now write your factors down here.
The box.
Yeah.
Box.
There you go.
Did I have a negative?
The 3 has to be on the outside,
No,
right?
there were no negatives in the problem, so it's all positive.
Sí, señor.
Yeah, I like this one because it doesn't have a whole bunch of negatives. Basically, I think most of you got it. Wasn't it 3x plus 1 and x plus 3 and then the 3 out front?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we're 3 and 3 and 1 and 1.
No, if you wrote your 1 here and your 9 here, then they're going to be down here and they're going to be up here. You're still going to get the right factors. All right. We'll see you guys